All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down a concept from our source material about a type of energy it calls masculine. But, it's probably not what you're thinking. This is an explainer on a very specific framework, using its own terms. So our source describes this not as being aggressive or loud, but as this quiet, internal force that can have a huge impact on social dynamics. Let's get right into it.
So our source kicks things off with this really bold claim. The idea here is that there's this powerful, nonverbal energy that can completely shift attraction and how people interact with you. The source even says that learning to project it can lead to some strange but incredible things. So what is this energy it's talking about? And how exactly does this framework define it?
Okay, so what is this so-called masculine energy? Well, our source makes it super clear. This has nothing to do with being the loudest guy in the room or putting on some kind of show. Actually, it's the total opposite. It's defined as a deep internal state, one of calm, deliberate control, and this real, unwavering stability.
Okay, so this whole framework is built on three main pillars. The first one, and really the foundation for everything else, is what the source calls dangerous calm. Think of it as learning how to cultivate an inner stillness, a calm center, especially when everything and everyone around you is just chaos.
And this slide, I think, draws a really sharp line in the sand. On the left, you've got aggression. That's all the reactive stuff, fighting, chaos, trying to prove your power. But then you look at the right side, control, and it's all about being silent, deliberate, and just feeling that power internally, without needing to show it off. The source compares it to a lion right before it pounces. That stillness is way more powerful than any roar. So how does this inner calm actually look on the outside? Well, the source says it's all about your physical presence. It's about moving slower, more deliberately than pretty much everyone else. It's about standing grounded, like a pillar, not like some performer who's looking for the spotlight. You basically become the anchor in the middle of a storm.
Okay, so if dangerous calm is the internal foundation, how do you actually express it? Well, that brings us to the second pillar from the source, which is all about a tool it calls potent silence.
And this quote right here, it just nails the whole idea. The source argues that the power of your communication isn't about how fast you talk or how loud you are. Nope. It's in the deliberation, the calm behind your words. It's about letting your words really have some weight.
And here's how the source breaks down the dynamic of silence. When you pause, when you just hold that silence, it creates a kind of vacuum. And most people, they feel this intense urge to fill that space. And when they do, they often end up revealing way more about what they're thinking and what they want. The source even likens it to an interrogation tool. It just shifts the whole dynamic, letting you listen and understand instead of just reacting.
And look, this is so much more than just not talking. It's an active thing you do. It's using steady, relaxed eye contact that communicates confidence, not intimidation. It's about setting the entire tone of a room with your calm presence, making the few words you do say really count, and letting your stillness create this sense of depth and mystery.
All right, and that brings us to our third and final pillar, which is really the engine driving this whole thing. What powers that dangerous calm and potent silence? Well, according to the source, it all comes down to acting from a place of conscious choice.
And the source material asks this very question: where does this power actually come from? And it suggests the answer isn't about what you do, but why you're doing it. The power comes from your core motivation. Is it coming from a place of needing something or from a place of choice?
This slide really lays out the core difference here. The source describes acting from need as having this heavy, kind of desperate energy. It's that feeling of chasing validation, of being really attached to getting a specific reaction. But acting from choice, that feels free and powerful, because your actions are guided by your own internal standards and you're not hooked on any one particular outcome.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, it boils down to a few key principles. You treat your energy and your time like they're valuable currency. You set your boundaries with quiet action instead of long-winded explanations. You focus on your own standards of behavior, not the results. And you carry yourself with a certainty that makes you look like you belong no matter where you are.
And this right here, this brings us to the core idea of the entire framework. This isn't some performance you put on for other people. It's all about the internal work of mastering yourself. The source argues that any external influence you might have is really just a side effect of that deep, internal self-respect and control.
And that leaves us with this final, really powerful question to think about. Just take a moment and really consider it. If you completely detached from the outcome, if you weren't worried about getting the laugh or the approval or closing the deal, how would you act?
What would you do differently? According to our source, the answer to that question is the key to this whole concept.